Okay. Y'all have to be nice because I got new glasses yesterday, so reading is a little difficult today.
You look
Oh,
amazing.
new prescription and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So, got
Hold
new
on.
stuff.
Let me turn you up. 'Cause you are very faint. Oh, I almost have you at 200%. That's
Mine
fine.
are more like, this first one's yelly.
Okay. I like Cieli.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my cousin name her baby after me because of a family prophecy?
Dog, what? Dog, what
Who
do
has this
you mean?
anymore?
Okay.
Okay. I, 23 female, have a cousin, Lila, who's 25 female, who is very into family lore, spiritual omens, prophecies that have been passed down through our great grandmother's side.
Uh huh.
Most of the time, I just go along with it because it's harmless and stuff like that, like plant a rosemary under the full moon or a bloodline is connected to the ocean. Weird, but whatever.
Uh huh.
Well, now she's pregnant and things have gotten intense. Last week, she announced that she wants to name her daughter after me. I was flattered at first and asked why she chose my name. And that's when she got all serious and said, "Because you're the chosen one." She explained that according to a family prophecy, a girl born into our bloodline with my name would have a great spiritual awakening, unlock ancient family powers, and become the protector of our lineage. I laughed, thinking she
What
was
are they? The
joking,
Mayans?
but
What's
she wasn't.
happening?
Into every generation, a chosen one
Like,
is born.
where do you find that?
That's
Like, what do you
crazy. What are you
That's some
fucking?
that's some straight up Buffy the Vampire
also,
Slayer stuff.
what powers? That
That's
sounds
that
cool.
is so Catholic coded. It's not even funny. Like that's actually crazy. I can say that because I was raised Catholic. Okay, but go ahead.
Let's see, where was I? Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
She said she felt like her baby was meant to be the true heir of prophecy, and by giving her my name, she could absorb the connection to whatever mystical forces our great grandmother was supposedly tapped into.
Ew, so she wants to steal her destiny.
Wait,
Then she
what?
got weirdly intense and told me I need to release the name to her. I asked what she meant by that, and she said for the magic to work, I need to stop using my name and let it fully belong to her unborn daughter.
Oh, okay. Sorry for the massive Olaf that just appeared on the screen. I'm
Actually, I love it.
trying to get him to hang out down on there on the carpet.
Aw, him good boys.
Him go dusty
Um,
boy.
I was like, Lila, you want me
Cute.
to give up my own name? And she nodded and said I could pick a new one, something neutral and mundane,
What?
so I
Wait.
wouldn't compete for the energy.
She wants her to wait. She wants an adult. Wait.
Can I pet that dog?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
pet
heard
that
her
dog.
right.
He loves pets. So she
Yeah,
wants an
a
adult
23-year-old adult woman to give up her name
to
to
change
her
her
unborn daughter.
name so that her can name her daughter that adult person's name.
Yes.
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. That's so
So
fucking
she said,
stupid. What do you mean? What do
I
you
thought
mean?
this was absolutely insane, and I told
Yeah.
her, hell no, my name is my name. And she got really upset and said I was being selfish with my spiritual destiny,
That's
and that
crazy.
I should have honored her child with fulfilling this prophecy. Now, some family members who are into the whole mystic thing are saying I should at least consider it because it is bigger than me,
No,
and
ma'am.
the prophecy has never been wrong before.
No, ma'am.
What did it prophesize? What the hell?
No, ma'am.
Um,
See, what we're not going to
I,
do is that. What do you mean? That is crazy, dude. That's so. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. I honestly don't care if the kid gets mystical powers or not. I'm not renaming myself just so her baby can have full access to the family spirits or whatever.
Yeah,
Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my name?
absolutely fucking not. But let's ask. Let's. Stacy, what do
Let's
you
ask the
think?
chat. How dare you?
Well, I want to know what the prophecy is. I
Same. It
mean,
was just
No,
she's
she's
gonna
not an
unlock a
asshole.
mystical power, but it
Right?
doesn't say what power.
What if the power is like nefarious? You want that on your baby?
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to know, is her father's first name Adolf?
Mm.
Because if
Oh no.
that's the family, maybe not. Maybe we let
Right?
that die away. That's
Spicy, honestly, fuck that
crazy.
kid.
What? What?
Spicy, honestly, fuck that kid. It's my powers.
Yeah.
Same,
It's my
Feisty.
power. It's my money and I want it now. No. What the fuck? That's crazy.
What if Grandma is just rolling over in her grave, laughing her ass off, like, look what I have done? Ha 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 ha.
If it was prophesized,
You know
then
what?
she is
Honestly,
the chosen one. Why are you trying to switch chosen ones? That's not how a
yeah.
chosen one works.
Yeah. No, yeah. I want my daughter to be the chosen one. That's how that works. Any Becky Sue in any young adult novel will tell you that's not how it works.
Nope. There can be only one.
There could
Who
only
has
be
to give
one.
her daughter main character
And all of
energy?
them are weird and like sports for some reason. Or drive a motorcycle or know how to shoot an arrow perfectly from 3 miles away directly into some dude's iris. No,
And are
there
also
can only
only
be one.
19
And
and
they, yeah,
extremely petite. And they
yeah.
don't know that they're beautiful.
They're all 5'1", think they're ugly, and they're like a Victoria's Secret model. Like, no. You found a flamingo-shaped chicken nuggets? Stop
Pixar,
the
it didn't happen, Feisty.
presses. Stop
I
the
feel like
presses
that would get
immediately.
really skinny in both the bottom and the top. How does it stay together? It could be like a stick and then a blob and then a stick.
That's crazy. No, they are not the asshole. By any
No,
stretch of the
absolutely not.
imagination.
Nope. What the heck is that? Okay, anytime people get pregnant, people get weird.
God, like, okay, here, all right.
They're
As
so weird.
someone who does not have a child, right? I am the fun aunt, and I'm totally fucking fine with my lot in life. I don't want children. I love children. They're amazing. Get them away from me. I don't want my own. But
They're great for like 2 hours at a time.
yeah,
This week, my kids are the best.
I need people to understand that no one cares. No one besides you and your immediate family care about you or your kid. So this whole chosen one shit, or my kid needs to be able to. No, they don't. Stop it. I love kids. Don't misunderstand me. They're great. I just don't expect me to give a fuck. I don't. I don't care about your kid. Sorry, this is a side rant. Can I rant for a second?
Go,
Can-
go, go.
can
go,
I go off?
Go for it.
I was on an airplane, right? And I was watching not something like explicit, right? But it was not like a cartoon. It was not intended for kids. You know what I mean? I can't remember what it was. It wasn't like Wolf of Wall Street or something like that, but it was like like Batman or some shit like that. So like mild violence, whatever. And this kid was like leaning onto me, like watching it with me. Like I was, like it was like it. The child was leaning against me like we were just like hanging out on a Saturday, and I was like, ew, I don't know you. You're a child. Get away from me. And the mom leans over and she's like, do you have anything more age appropriate? And I was like, absolutely not. If you don't want your kid to see inappropriate things for their age, tell them to stop looking at my screen. And I was like, I'm not in charge of your child.
Saturday.
Saturday. I'm tired of these mother-loving children on this mother-loving plane. Yeah, no. And she was just like, you don't have like, I don't know, like any cartoons or anything? I was like, I am a 35-year-old woman. currently on this flight. I'm 35. I'm 38 now. But I'm a 35-year-old woman. Why would I do that? Why would
Not to
I have
mention,
it?
knowing you, you did have cartoons, but they also were not child appropriate.
No. I'm sure I had a few episodes of SpongeBob because I watch SpongeBob whenever I'm sick or sad. That's what I do. I fucking love SpongeBob. I think he's the worst cartoon of all time, but I love him. But I'm not sharing it now because you asked me, you entitled woman. Absolutely not. Get away from me. So don't listen. If you become a mom later in life, don't be that mom that's like, my baby has to have every good thing. Absolutely. From you, not from the people around you. Your child is
Yeah.
not our responsibility
It's
by
like the
any
people
stretch.
that are all pissed off about the Sabrina Carpenter, like, Juno poses that she does, and they're like, "No, think of the children." It's like, you do it.
You do it.
It's
That's your
your
kid.
You're
children.
supposed to censor the
You
kids yourself.
you moderate what your child sees. That's like if a parent ever got mad at me because their 12-year-old or 10-year-old or 11-year-old wandered into my stream, it's not my fault. You gave your child unfettered access to the internet. Get away from me. Anyway,
Freaking love Blue.
there's my rant. One migraine. I get one rant a migraine. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'm accomplished as a parent. My kid turned on Netflix the other day and he picked Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh,
I was
hell
like,
yeah.
Thank
Secret
you.
tunnel!
I
Secret
won.
tunnel!
Okay,
So,
did you want to do a creepy one, or
I
do you
have
want
a
me to keep
creepy one.
going?
I have a creepy
Okay.
one. Saturday. See, you know. Ah, welcome to the adult world, Finnis. It only gets more shit from here. I'm just kidding. I'm 20 years older than you, and I'm living the dream. This is called My Brother Saw a Ghost as a Kid. 2 decades later, I realized what he actually saw. Gave you, like, unfettered internet? My ADHD is out of control today. Anyway, my brother saw a ghost as a kid. 2 decades later, I realized what he actually saw. I was about 7 years old, my brother about 10. It was well past our bedtime when our mom woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was often just us 3 at the house for weeks at a time. Up the stairs and to the immediate right was our parents' bedroom. Going left put you in the middle of a hallway. Taking another left down that hallway led to my brother's room. The opposite end was my room, which was also across the hall from our upstairs bathroom. At either end of the hallway are windowed, it looked like widowed for a second there, windowed doors we always kept locked and barely used. The door on my end led to a balcony overlooking our front yard, and the door on my brother's end opened to our back porch. The house kind of leans into a small hill. We got the picture? Cool.
Yeah.
My brother and mom both had a habit of waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I only knew this because I was always a light sleeper and they just couldn't help flushing with the door wide open. I would rage, dude. I would rage if people did that. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to his room and came back towards the bathroom. I'm going to try to pee before I go to bed. The past few nights I've been too afraid to walk past the bathroom. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway. I don't know if my mom wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try to scare me, or if she was already half asleep and didn't catch it, but she didn't react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was terrified by it. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the windows is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. Real talk for a second here. Can I just say I run up my stairs every night after I turn off all the lights downstairs. I run, and I can't have my feet dangling over my couch if I'm watching something scary. Am I the only one who's like that?
I have like street lights outside my house, so my house always has light regardless.
Not
That
me.
makes sense.
I could not do it. I could not do it. Oh, sorry. I turned Stacy off to try to give her privacy for a second there. Um.
I'm good.
Anyway, years later, when I was about 18, my mom and I were having a conversation in her car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency towards destroying my shoes and other unruly behaviors when my mom blurted out, "Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran inside to the kitchen and started tearing open that big bag of dog food we had?" This really caught me by surprise because in all the years I lived in that house, we never once called the cops. Gun owner family in a quiet rural West Virginia neighborhood. I asked her what she was talking about, and she looked equally surprised as if she had just revealed something by accident. "Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time. One night I woke up hearing noises outside my window, and when I looked, I saw a man staring into my bedroom." I would
A
shit
man?
myself. I would shit myself if I saw that. She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running and how she grabbed my dad's pistol before calling the cops. I can't remember all the details I gave them when they showed up. Tall white male, wearing a striped shirt and jeans, short dark hair, something like that. They said it matched the description of a man they were looking for in the area. It turns out he had escaped from jail on a murder charge. I know it sounds so obvious hearing those two stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago in my mid 20s that I pieced together that my brother had unknowingly warned us about a murderer who spent multiple nights casing our home. That's the end
I
of the
don't
story.
like that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I've already told the story of Clay in Gatlinburg.
Yes.
That's my nightmare. That's my nightmare. If that happened, that's my nightmare. Absolutely my fucking nightmare.
So
Like,
he just thought it was like a ghost?
yeah, I mean the little kid thought it was a ghost and no one was like, "Tell us more about this," because kids say weird shit all the time, you know? They say weird shit all of the time. Stacey, have your kids ever said anything weird to you about like people being in the house or anything like that?
Not really. Not like not not realistically. No.
Not realistically?
Yeah, like they've never said anything about like ghosts or I saw a person. Usually Zach will come out with, what if this, what if that,
Oh,
but not.
Zachary, don't ever do that.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like,
he's
knock
my
it
worst
off,
case scenario. Yeah,
kid.
he's just like me with his worst case scenario thoughts.
Yeah, I'm
So
one of those worst case scenario people too. Like, Dying shares her location with me on her phone, and when I tell you, I I check it often when she hasn't answered my texts in a while. I'm like, is she in a ditch somewhere? Oh no, she's at home. It's fine, because she knows me. She knows I'm gonna freak the fuck out if I don't hear from her. Yes,
yeah, if
stole
I
his pillow.
if I ever share my location, look for me to be not at home, and that's when you can get
Yeah,
concerned.
absolutely. If I ever look at your location and you're anywhere but your home, something's up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know the
Some
area.
somebody
So,
took me.
yeah, yeah. Growing up, I lived out in the country, and we would have people try to break into our house all the time. Excuse me. And one night they were breaking in, and they had a machete, and they got scared off. And when we found a machete, it was stuck to the outside of our basement door that was outside where they were trying to knock it down with a machete. What the fuck, Feisty? What do you mean? What do you mean? You saw your great aunt's head in the. Alright, Queenie, I'm gonna need some fucking explanation for that. What do you mean? What do you
As
mean?
like a vision or like for Rizzle?
Right? Like was that
I'm gonna need some
dinner? What?
clarification. You know? I'm gonna need some clarification here, madam.
Was it the evening's pot roast that just had an uncanny resemblance?
Yeah, is it
Or
like the Jesus in the potato chip oil type deal, or? All right, Lexi, you got another one?
Yes, I do. Am I the asshole for feeling like poetic justice was served on my ex's wife? Oh my
Wait,
gosh, why did I
my
make it so
ex's
small?
wife.
Yes.
You
So
can you can
three
hit
years
control
ago,
and scroll up, and it should make it bigger.
uh,
You
I can't. My
sleepwalk?
eyes are like hating the small and the big.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's new glasses. It'll take you a while to get used to them.
Okay, put this down for a second. So 3 years ago, my ex and I broke up because he chose to cheat on me with someone else. Not only did this woman steal my boyfriend, but she also went out of her way to rub it in my face. She sent countless messages mocking me, and one of the worst things she did was insult my autistic sibling. She called my family a bunch of abnormals and even said it was a good thing that my ex left me because I would have abnormal kids too. I blocked
Mm.
I wonder
both
if
of
he knew
them.
about. I wonder if he knew about these messages.
I don't know that it would matter, but
It might, because if I was dating someone and they were sending that shit even to their ex, I'd be like, "Oh, you're insane." Cool.
Yeah, but
yeah.
he cheated on her with the new girl that's
Yeah,
sending
but
He
messages. So
obviously
he
didn't
might,
respect her in the first
even
yes.
place.
cheaters have a line, though. You know what I mean?
I doubt it's that one.
Maybe not. All
Yeah,
right, go ahead. I'm so
probably.
sorry. Ableism is
Um,
not the line you're saying?
yeah. I blocked both of them a long time ago and moved on with my life. But recently, a former coworker mentioned that they now had a baby together. And guess what? Their child was born with Down syndrome. Now, let me be clear, I do not believe having a child with special needs is any sort of punishment. My parents are wonderful people, and my sibling is one of the most amazing people I know. But I can't help but see the irony here. The woman was so cruel and so judgmental and so disgustingly proud of herself for putting me down over something completely out of my control. And now she's the one raising a child with special needs. So I honestly hope this experience humbles her and maybe she'll think twice about mocking people in the future. Am I the asshole for feeling like this is karma?
No. I don't think they're the asshole for feeling that way. If they were to express those feelings to the mother who now has a child with Down syndrome that they are most likely going to have to care for the rest of their life, and it's tough because kids don't understand what's going on 90% of the time, and then you give them a condition where they can't, communicate properly, and it's just that's rough. That is a difficult situation. She's not an asshole for thinking that way because we all have that little petty part of our brain that's like, fuck you. But if she expressed that to the mother, be like, this is because you blank, blank, blank. You did this, that, and the other to me. That's an asshole move. But just feeling kind of vindicated, I don't think that's an asshole move. I think that's human nature.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Again, expressing it to her, to the mother, would be absolutely, unequivocally not okay.
Hmm.
But, that's just my most humble experience. Lexi, how do you feel about it?
I really hope that this does teach her about like
I mean, it won't.
humility and knowing.
It won't. Because she sounds like
I
the.
feel like some
the
people do grow up though quite a bit
yeah.
when they have kids.
She sounds like a narcissist, though. You know?
Yeah, I
She sounds
don't
like the kind of person who's like, I can do no wrong, da da da. I'm so much better than you, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean?
I don't have high hopes, but I have hopes.
Yeah, that's fair. Your green bar keeps popping up when you talk. I need to change that just a little bit.
I have a green bar.
Yeah, it's just the way I cropped your photo from the Discord. You have no hopes for that lady. Same. Queenie specified, so the oven, about seeing her great aunt, was it? In the oven? So the oven was placed higher, not like the oven under the stove. It was built in one. Oh, my parents have one like that. So when I opened the oven to put dinner in, I saw someone like they were standing in the place and the oven was put, so it was more like chest high. And I described the figure to my mom, and she said, "This is my Aunt Mary who died in the house," or Aunt Marie who died in the house. Yuck.
Hmm.
I would freak the fuck out, dog. I would freak the fuck out.
You know what I love about my house
What's
is
that?
I have no idea, no clue whatsoever if anyone has died in or around my home. No
There,
idea.
there's a website.
I don't need to know.
There's a
Ignorance is
website for
bliss.
that. I think what's it? It's called like Did Someone Die Here or something? Did someone die in? Oh, did someone die in my house? How to find diedinhouse.com is the
Nope.
name.
I'm more than happy not knowing.
Can I look
Nope.
this up?
My grandparents have owned this house for 63 years, and it was only built 10 years before that, so no one's died here.
4 8. Ooh, I almost
You
read
almost
out.
doxed yourself.
I almost doxed myself. I'm used to
Up
just
in a
saying
bit.
it out loud.
Woo.
Oh, you have to pay? It's $15?
Not worth
That's
it.
stupid.
Yes.
You would think something like that would be a matter of public record, though, so there's probably other ways you can find out. That's probably just like the quickest
Probably
shortcut
less
way.
convenient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast Expert. How to know if someone died in your house. Inquire with your real estate agent. Review death disclosure laws. Oh. What about paranormal activity? Yeah, get your home inspected for a carbon monoxide leak. Yeah. Conduct an online address search. Talk to the neighbors and directly ask the homeowner. See, here's the thing. I never spoke to the people who owned my home, but I don't believe the gentleman who lived here before me died in this home, but he is still here. He is in my basement. My basement. It's like a French basement. It's like the first floor, but whatever. I 110%, and there's nothing anyone can convince me otherwise. That he's still here. He's still kicking it downstairs. I don't pay attention when he does things. Oh, Saturday. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Here's one for Stacy and I. Florida woman crawled out of my hotel mirror to rob me. Okay. I need to make this bigger. Whew. I need reading glasses, I tell you. This past Monday, my coworkers and I returned to our hotel from a day of work out in the field. Rebecca and I walked to our rooms, and as we stood outside our rooms, I love how people are just like, Rebecca. Who's Rebecca? Who is Rebecca to you? Do you think we know Rebecca? And I walked into our rooms. We stood outside of our rooms. I opened mine and I saw someone in the bathroom. I said, "Hello?" Nobody answered. My first instinct was that it was a cleaning lady in there for some reason, and then I saw my bag with my clothes in her hands. I said to my coworker, "There's a woman in my room." Then I asked the woman, "What are you doing with my stuff?" It gets a little fuzzy here because I can't remember everything I said and what she said, but she kept mumbling about how her key still worked. How it still worked, and that's how she got in. I was in shock, and she was obviously very flustered, having been caught mid-robbery. She dropped my bags and fumbled around with her purse and a white plastic bag. By this time, my coworker was behind me watching all the insanity unfold. This woman was scrambling and walking towards the door, and I said, "What's in the bag?" Thinking it is probably my stuff, so she said, No, it's just my things. It's just my things. I'll show you. And so she did. I looked and I didn't see anything of mine. And so, since I'm obviously in shock at this time, I let her leave. I went into my room and it's been ransacked. I did a quick look around to see if anything had been taken. All my electronics were still there. Then I went to the bathroom and I saw my underwear, my bikini, and my clothes shoved into my own bags randomly. Even my passport was shoved in there. Then I looked on the counter and I saw that she got into my medication. I'm not sure what was going through my head at that moment other than I wanted it back, so I ran out the door to go find her. I ran to the laundry room downstairs and out to the sides of the hotel, and I didn't see her. I realized I was never going to find her, so my coworker and I went down to the lobby to tell them what happened, and then we called the police. We went back up to my room to wait, and I noticed that there is a metal bat on my bed, a little larger than one of those novelty wooden bats you can get at a baseball game, but there's also a flashlight on the end. She must have left it behind in her hurry. She also left behind a necklace that must have fallen out of her bag when she was scrambling with mine. I was mostly freaking out at this point because I thought she'd gotten away with my medication that I need. The police got there and took our statements and looked around the room as well. One thing that I noticed was that there were bits of drywall in the sink, and I pointed that out to the cops, but none of us really knew where it came from. We started looking at the door and the windows to see if she had pried her way in somehow, but there was nothing. So we kind of just went with the idea that she had a spare key or something, even though the hotel front desk was adamant that there's no way that could be. The officer that came brought 2 more officers back up because they thought the woman might still be in the vicinity. But after our statements were taken, there was nothing else they could really do, so they left. I sat down to finally make some calls to tell people, and as I'm on the phone, I'm thinking about the drywall in the sink, and it still doesn't make sense to me. So I'm on the phone and looking at the drywall in the mirror in the wall right above it, and then it hit me. I got my coworker and asked her to help me pull at this mirror on the wall, and we took the mirror down, and there's a hole just big enough for a desperate junkie to squeeze through. I asked Brian and Rebecca if I should call the cops again to let them know that I found this, and my boss said there's still 2 cop cars in the parking lot. So I went down to tell them, and the female cop kind of rolled her eyes, but the young guy said, I'll come check it out. They both came back up, looked at the hole, and found a pillow, blankets, cigarettes, clothes, toothbrushes. Hello? I would freak the fuck out. That's one of my biggest fears, that someone's like living in my home. You know what I'm saying? The fact that this happened in Florida makes so much sense to me. Same. But
Yeah.
like someone living in the walls? Like, what's that book from when you were kids? Borrowers? But they're not tiny, they're full people, you know? You know who I'm talking about, Stacey?
Yeah.
The borrowers!
But the comparison.
But they're not little, they're big people who
Right, 'cause
smoke meth.
that's the only difference.
I mean, there's many differences. Like meth. Meth is a huge difference, I feel, between the borrowers and some woman living in a van down by the river.
Was that the end, or did she say anything? Because I'm worried that she stayed there, and I need her not to stay there.
Yeah. She said, this woman had been, in all caps here, living in the wall behind my mirror for God knows how long. She had access to me and my room at all times. I know it might be hard to picture. There's a crawl space about 2 feet wide between the 2 rows of rooms. One of the officers called the original officer to come back and take pictures of this. She explained to him what's going on, and all I hear over the radio is, no fucking way. She
Valid
comes,
response.
right? I'd be like, what? What do you mean? He comes back, takes pictures, and is just as mind blown as the rest of us. Obviously, we packed up and left immediately. What's even crazier is she has probably been there a long time. The last time we stayed at this hotel, I would randomly smell cigarette smoke, and I assumed someone was smoking in their bathroom and it was traveling through the vents. But nope, a junkie was smoking just on the other side of my mirror. I would burn this hotel to the ground. I would be so upset. What's even crazier is she had access to other rooms too. The holes in the walls were from a renovation, and the hotel hadn't properly patched and just covered up with mirrors. What do you mean? She could have been hanging out in people's rooms when they were gone. Anyway, this was insane, and I'm taking a little time off. I would. There's something viscerally horrible about someone like taking root in your spaces where you think you're alone. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
Ladies?
I just like it. I don't like hotels in general because, like,
Oh, I
the
love
maid
hotels.
services and things that come in.
I love hotels. Love them.
Not that I
I
don't
feel
like
like-
maids. I think
I
they're
feel like
amazing.
nothing's ever clean, and I'm sure most of the time, 90% of the time, it's perfectly clean. But I feel like it isn't.
Dancing, you would get shot in the face.
I
The
bring
moment
my
they
own sheets
see
and blankets.
you coming out of the mirror, like Samara from The Ring, shot in the face immediately. Listen, Florida has like stand your ground, okay? You can't be doing shit like that in Florida. You will get shot.
Yeah, people around here play real fast and loose with that stand your
They
ground too.
really do. And the cops
see how far
don't
they can
argue.
take it.
They don't argue. Like, well, yeah. I mean, they put one toe on a blade of your grass, but sure. It's absolutely acceptable. You emptied the clip of a 9mm into their face. Innocent.
That wouldn't happen here because we have between our walls is so much insulation. And if there's not insulation, then you would have frozen to death before you could pop out of a mirror.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
you live in the land of 1,000 lakes, so
Oh,
y'all brag about that shit too, which is wild to me.
there's so
Right.
many. Like every pond is also a lake. Like it's not really a lake. Though.
Yeah. Listen, some guy
Like,
named
driveway
Jerry
puddle is
who
a lake.
works some guy who works at Home Depot named Jerry filled a hole with water. That's not a lake. You know?
There's like background pools. New lake.
New lake. Land of a million lakes.
I just remembered this little incident while flicking through the comments. I used to have a job where I went to businesses, schools, etc. to empty the sanitary bins in the ladies' toilets, as well as other things like refill air fresheners, replace urinal mats, etc. It's not a glamorous job, I know, but it's better than being on benefits and it kept a roof over my head. Anyway, one place I went to, as everyone had set routes that were either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, so we were the regular service operative for the said place that we went to, was a little office, and I had to press the buzzer to get let in. As I was waiting, I looked around and saw the word receptionist under the buzzer. Usually in situations like this, they answer and I just say, I'm here to do the bins. But today I had a complete brain fart, and as soon as someone answered, I blurted out, I'm here to do the receptionist. Sorry, I meant the bins. I'm here to do the bins.
I'm here to do the receptionist in the bins. Is that a euphemism? What do you mean?
To say it was awkward when I went to get the sheet that said I had been there and done what I said I would do, signed by the receptionist, would be an understatement. Thankfully, the office was only one of my monthly routes, so it gave a bit of time for everyone to forget what had happened, but my coworkers did not let me forget for quite a while.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Heck yes. I have another really short one.
Yeah, go for it.
Today I fucked up by catcalling. I ordered some groceries for delivery and went on a quick run before people get crazy. I don't know why they put that there. I went on a quick run before people get crazy. Okay. Um, I ended up getting back just before the delivery person, who happened to be a pretty cute girl. I said, "Hey, I've just got to run in and grab my ID." So I ran in and left the door slightly open. As I asked her if there was anything else she needed, she didn't seem to understand. So I asked where she was from, and she said Venezuela. And I said, "Okay, cool, have a good day." And then she says bye too and goes to leave. She turns the corner, and then just as she turned the corner, my cat, who ran out of the door, comes around a different corner. And so I yell at the cat, "Girl, get your ass over here." To which the delivery yells back, "I said no, goodbye."
Honestly, a queen.
Yeah.
No means no.
"Girl, get your ass over here."
No.
I thought that was hilarious.
I have to. Okay, first of all, I want you to know that I am a good person, and I'm not going to read the Reddit classic "Today I fucked up by into a coconut."
Oh.
Finishing
Hmm.
into a coconut.
That's appreciated.
Yeah.
All you need to know is that it exists. And if you want the full Reddit experience, much like poop knife, you need to know about the coconut.
I don't need to know about it.
Yeah. Okay. This one, oh wait, this is stupid long. Well, we have time. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
It's okay. Actually, Lexi, if I send you the link, can you read it?
Yeah.
Cuz my allergies are killing me and my eyes are fucked as well. Here's the there's the link. It looks really funny. So,
Okay. Today I fucked up by stuffing my face with edibles before dinner with my wife's parents. Okay.
can't
Recently I
wait.
traveled to Denver, Colorado with my wife and my wife's parents. As a resident of a non-legalized state, and as someone who is way too much of a pussy to regularly buy illegal drugs, the thing I was looking most forward to was the chance to buy fancy, legal weed. What could possibly go wrong? So the first thing I do upon arriving, after successfully ditching my in-laws, is to drag my wife to the nearest dispensary and go on a shopping spree. And oh my God, it was just like my dreams. Tons of different options in neat little jars, and a team of helpful stoners helping me through the various strains. Are you looking for a mellow body high, or do you want something with more pep and energy? Or are you just hoping for something light to take the stress off? Yes, yes, and yes, I reply eagerly, like a fat kid in a candy store, and request an eighth, eighth ounce of seven different options.
Isn't that
In hindsight,
an eighth of an ounce?
yeah, an eighth ounce,
Oh, I was about
eighth
to
of an
say
ounce.
an 8
They
ounce
put it
option?
really weird.
My God. Sorry.
It'd be a lot.
Go ahead.
Um, in hindsight, if I learned anything from this experience, it's that my math and science teachers never taught me basic information like what is an ounce or how much weed can you consume in a single weekend. Sure, I can tell you that the two speeding trains leaving separate stations would collide or recite Avogadro's number,
Yeah.
but It turns out that none of that information was particularly relevant to getting high in a responsible but efficient manner.
You know.
And it was at this dispensary that I also learned that you can't actually smoke in public places, including the hotel my wife and I were staying at.
Yeah.
As a result,
It's
before
not
leaving,
legal there.
I begged my wife to buy edibles so that I could munch on them before we found a place to properly get lit. After expressing shock at the absurd volume of drugs that we were buying, unlike me, she's a product of a private school and understands the imperial measurement system. Um, she relents and walks out of the store with what felt like a dump truck of weed plus a small package of seemingly innocuous ginger snap
He's just walking out with his arms full, like, I'm gonna make bad
He's like one of those
decisions.
burglars that has the bag with the money symbol on it. Like that vibe.
Real quick side note. Lexi, were you there when Stacy took edibles before we played Lethal Company?
Why are we bringing up this stuff?
It was so good. Anyway.
I don't remember that. I don't know if I was there.
I do. And it was the funniest night of my life.
Oh no, we'll have to do it again.
She wasn't like bad.
Twist my arm.
She was just you know how Stacy usually is when we're gaming? Totally different person. Like, we would lose very important stuff. She'd be like, oh well. Just walk away.
Oh my god.
I think she jumped in the hole a couple times. She's like, I don't want to deal with this. Bye. Just jumped off a cliff. And we're like, what is happening?
I'm out.
This is not
Oh my
Stacy.
God.
It was great. Dying was there, and she was losing her mind. Anyway, go ahead.
Like, yeah. Okay. Where was I? Okay. When we finally get back to the hotel room, I tear those bad boys open, only to find about a dozen tiny cookies roughly the size of a quarter. What the fuck, Denver? Seeing the skepticism and hunger in my eyes, my wife warns me that I should go easy and look at the back of the package before trying one. Dose size is half a cookie, I read silently, before taking micro bites from the edges, like a giant chinchilla gnawing on a sunflower seed. But what kind of savage only eats half a cookie? So a second later, I covertly popped the entire remainder into my mouth.
Wait,
And
so
then-
wait, but is he like an avid smoker?
No, they said he was having difficulties finding it at home because he doesn't buy illegal drugs.
Oh, so he was in a state where you could do it. And so
He was
he's like,
living in a state that was illegal.
yes, and now
But
he's
he went to Denver.
right where it is very
he
legal.
Got all of it.
Oh, so he's like, when in Rome.
In vacation spree. That's what we're doing.
Ooh, that's a bad.
So
That is
he covertly pops
unadvisable.
the remainder of the cookie into his mouth.
Okay.
And then I quickly stuff another 2 cookies in my mouth for good measure the moment my wife turns her back.
Oh no.
We may
No.
not have legal weed back home, but I routinely devour an entire package of Milanos in one sitting without breaking a sweat. So move your tiny ginger steps. About 30 minutes later, we're in the backseat of her parents' rental car on the way to dinner. And that's when things start to go tits up.
That's like 10,
But my
like
stomach
what
growls.
Saturday said. That's like 10 doses of weed.
It's so much.
That's so much. Oh.
And it sounds like it was on an empty stomach because he sounds really fucking hungry.
Well,
He's gonna get more hungry.
and if he doesn't barf his guts out, that's 10 doses for someone who's not an avid smoker. That is someone take me to the hospital, I'm dying. But no, someone talk them down so they stop thinking they're dying. Level of high. You know what I mean? Like that's anyway. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting because I'm like freaking I'm anxious for this man cuz I've been down that road. Not with edibles.
I have never been down that road.
I've been down that road. It
I
is
cannot-
not. It
I
is
will die.
not. It's not a fun.
Every
Not a fun
person
road.
that I've met that went down that road got super paranoid and scared. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. I felt like you know how your feet feel when they first start waking up from like being asleep?
Hmm.
Felt like that all over my, like someone was going like this on my face. And I said, I used to have a picture of me. I was sitting on my friend's couch, like, just fucking comatose. Like, disassociating as best I could. And they were like, "Are you alright?" I'm like, "No. Take me to the hospital." They're like, "We are not going to the hospital." And they put me in the bathtub and they just poured water. Like, I was sitting in the bath, fully clothed, and they were just taking cups of water and pouring them down my shoulders while, like, humming to me. And I've never felt more safe in my life. Never in my life have I felt more safe. But anyway, I'm so sorry. That's how your face feels in your dream? Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so he's in the car. Things start to go tits up. My stomach growls loudly and angrily. My wife looks at me with inquisitive eyes, seem to say, diarrhea? But I merely clutch my tummy and mumble something about altitude sickness.
Diarrhea? Can you imagine looking at your partner and knowing oh, you're going to shit yourself face?
You got, no? Um,
Are you?
you,
Diarrhea? Can you imagine? That's love. That's what true love is. Being able to look at someone and ask them legitimately, are you about to diarrhea in this fucking car? I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is so funny. Okay.
you didn't eat the whole cookie, did you? She asked. 10% in genuine concern and 90% in seething irritation. Of course not, I respond, avoiding all eye contact for the remainder of the car ride. A few minutes later, we were climbing out of her parents' rental car and heading into some trendy farm to table restaurant. I
Oh
don't
no.
remember how I made it to my seat, and I don't remember even looking at the menu. But I
Oh
do
no.
remember the concerned look on the waiter's face, asking me if I was doing all right. Keep it together, man, I said to myself. But my wife's sudden groan suggests that I might have also said that to the waiter. And things were going downhill fast. The waiter nods sympathetically, takes our orders, and heads to the next table. The moment he walks away, my wife is staring daggers at me, and I'm worried that the jig is up.
Hold on. Can you imagine you're a waiter and you're like, "Are you all right, sir?" And he goes, "Keep it together, man." Can you
Just
imagine?
like,
That's
oh,
so good. That's
oh,
so good.
I'd be like,
This man is too high. I need to get him some fucking bread now. You clipped out for a second
are you,
there.
are
Go
you
ahead.
sure?
Yes, you're good.
You're
Go ahead.
gonna like, okay. You're sweating from your entire face, she said, with both pity and disgust. Not quite knowing what to do, I reach for my napkin and proceed to blot my face cheeks, nose, neck, chin, forehead. At this point, my wife's mom looks over at me with concern. Are you okay? She asked kindly.
No.
Uh, yeah, the food's just a bit spicy, I reply. Far too quick, I realized that we had literally just ordered and there was nothing on the table except a basket of dinner rolls. My wife
Ah.
kicks me.
I would be furious if I was his wife. But I'm kind of a fucker, so I'd kind of be like furious at first, but then I'd start laughing and I'd probably tell my dad
Oh,
so that we could both start making fun of him because that's how my dad
yes.
and I roll. Okay, go ahead.
I just agree with everything. Be like, yes, those rolls were spicy.
Those Hawaiian
Okay.
king bread rolls, so spicy.
So spicy. You are so right. Uh, my wife kicks me under the table to grab my attention. Bathroom. Now, she hisses. Get it together. I reluctantly get up from the table and head to the toilet. After splashing a handful of water on my face, I approach the urinal and start to pee. Now, one of the most disconcerting effects of those tiny ginger snap monsters is feeling that time has become untethered from reality. As I'm peeing, I start to get a very unsettling feeling that I have been taking a piss for the better part of an hour and that my wife must be pacing around the restaurant worried about me. Deep down, I know that's absurd. I've been peeing all of my life, multiple times a day, and I've probably taken more than 50,000 leaks, and it usually only takes about a minute at most. So,
Yeah.
given my typical pee is no more than 60
But
seconds,
time is
and
now
given that
untethered.
I'm only about halfway done, it means I've probably been standing here about 30 seconds, right? But the guy in the urinal next to me doesn't respond and instead starts shuffling away midstream like a startled penguin.
But he said all of that out loud.
Yeah,
When you pee into the abyss and the abyss pees back, is what Saturday said. I'm just imagining a guy like shuffling away as a penguin because he's like, okay, I've been standing here for probably 30 seconds, and he's just like,
he starts shuffling away from me midstream like a startled penguin as I try, albeit unsuccessfully, to break eye contact.
he's just looking at him like,
Someone else.
How do you unsuccessfully try to break eye
Like,
contact?
time is untethered, Stacy. He's in the abyss, okay? He has no idea where he is. He has no idea how long his dick has been out and he's been peeing. These are uncharted territories. He is boldly going where no man has gone before. To explore strange new lives and seek out new civilizations. This is where we're at because of 10 fucking ginger snaps.
I ate like 3.
This is so good.
Oh my gosh.
This is such
I would
a
throw
good
those
story.
cookies away. Oh my god.
That's such a good story. Okay, go ahead.
The guy. Okay. After finishing, I again splashed water on my face and returned to my seat, making sure to apologize to the table for being gone so long,
Yeah.
just in case my math was off. Next, I try to briefly engage in small talk with my wife's father, but I am far too high to understand what either of us are saying, and not wanting to start laughing uncontrollably at the wrong moment, or really at any moment, I figure the safest idea is just to nod my head periodically and drink a lot of water. Nothing cures mental fatigue like water, right? To my wife's horror, I stand up and grab my water glass, thrust it out to the waiter, who unfortunately is on the opposite side of the restaurant.
Help me now!
But
Like it's a lifeboat.
he,
Help!
okay. He turns out to be really cool, and after making his way over to our table, tells me that he'll do his best to keep me stocked with ice water for the rest of the meal. He also helpfully suggests that if the dinner rolls aren't too spicy for me, I should probably eat 1 or 2 so that I don't have an empty stomach. Very smart man. However, going through all of the bread at the table and 3 glasses of water, I started getting worried that I would need actual food to offset the growing paranoia from the tiny ginger snap devil.
No, here's the thing, dude. That shit, you're along for the fucking ride, okay? Until your liver is done processing that shit, you're there. Enjoy. And your body metabolizes THC very different through your liver than through your lungs. So you're in for a treat, my guy. Hours long treat. You know?
Ready? Ooh. Okay. Do you think I should flag down the waiter again? I ask my wife helpfully, to ask what's taking so long. What? We literally ordered 3 fucking minutes ago. At that exchange, my wife loses her cool.
Time is
How many cookies did you eat? She demanded. Whoa, easy there, I respond, somewhat horrified by her outburst. I had a few cookies, but I keep it down. I don't want your parents to know how fucked up I am right now.
Listen, Samantha,
Really?
I don't
He
need
Are
that
they
says out
judgy
loud.
bullshit.
yeah,
He just has no inner monologue whatsoever.
really? Because they're sitting 2 feet away from you and they know. I look up for the first time, notice both of my in laws are just staring at me for what literally felt like an eternity.
They were teenagers in the 70s, Bob. They know what's going on.
Oh, my dad would be laughing his ass off.
I do. My mom would be furious, but me and my dad would be we would be like, oh, "Do you hear that? It's gonna get you. My dad's gonna get you." Sorry, go ahead, Lexi.
It says TLDR, I ate way too much edibles on my trip and wigged out during dinner with her parents. And then it says, edit. As for part 2 of the story, there's a reason, or technically 3 delicious reasons, why this was cut short. At that point, my wife's singular focus was getting me out of the restaurant before I either puked on a table or pissed off, or an unsightly combination of both, her parents. So I'm
Oh
guessing
God.
puked on and pissed off her parents.
Yeah.
Mm.
So after a few spastic, two-handed goodbye waves to my in-laws, she rushed me out the door like the Secret Service evacuating the president. The night after that whirlwind of
He's in
parsing
the
and groveling,
goddamn walls.
mixed with a few attempts of getting handsy at the back of the hotel room, and being an absolute awesome sweetie that she is, my wife stuck with me through this whole nightmare, whispering over and over in my ear, "Please don't die. We have a mortgage."
Oh,
Priorities.
misadventures and edibles is so funny. Oh my God.
That was a really good one. I like that a lot.
People have no patience when they eat edibles. And it's like, everyone says it's going to hit you, but no one has the patience to wait.
The visual of OP standing up to have water poured into his glass from a waiter across the restaurant got me.
Oh my gosh.
And so did him linking
Poor urinal guy.
his sweaty face to the spiciness of the bread.
But like, the waiter guy kind of knew what was going on. The guy at the urinal is just like, this
This man
crazy
is
man
insane.
locking eyes with me.
This man
Out
whose
of
pupils are massive
metaphysics bullshit.
and sweating, who's talking to himself. We're in Denver, okay? I know what's happening. I don't want to be a part of it, though. I don't want to be complicit in whatever this man has going on next to me. Oh my God, that was
I just
so
get back to my
good.
table and be like, we're leaving immediately.
We're leaving
We need to
now.
go.
We're leaving right fucking now. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, fuck, that was good. Fuck, that was so good. Here's another funny one that I know I've heard this one before, and it is so good. Lexi, you are much better at reading these than I am because I just love the way you read them. Would you please read that one for us?
I would love to.
Again, I've heard this one, and it is a banger.
Oh, it asked me if I'm over 18. Oh my god. You ready?
My nose is stuffy, and I'm taking allergy medicine. Let's go!
Okay, today I fucked up by thinking my son was having gay sex when he was really just eating hummus. So I, 39 female, have a son who is
Stacey.
15 male.
I'm gonna
Okay,
make Stacy's camera just a little bit bigger because I know she's going to enjoy
yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hit it,
I,
Lexi.
39 female, have a son who is 15 male, who brought his friend around today. They immediately went to their room, and I assumed that they would play some video games or whatever. Totally fine leaving them. About 30 minutes in, when I walked past and I heard such sounds as, OMG, that's so good. And it's so good with that. and various sounds. It really sounded like they were having gay sex, and I was super weirded out by it, so I quickly went downstairs to wait for his friend to leave. When his friend left an hour or two later, I asked my son what they were doing in his room. Because although I don't mind him being gay, and I know it's normal for teenagers to have sex, a condom really should be used, so I plan to confront him about that issue.
We love a progressive mama.
Yes, priorities. Smart. Um, However, the answer shocked me to my very core, because they weren't having sex, they were eating hummus. I was shocked and initially did not believe it. We had never had hummus before, so I asked him to show me the hummus if this was true. So he did, and I ate hummus for the first time. And oh my god, was it so good! We experimented with trying it with different things like bread and carrots, and it was great. Apparently, his friend had heard how he had never had hummus before and thought this was absurd, so he planned a date for a hummus party. So, yeah, it ended up being quite a good ending, and I discovered how nice hummus really was.
Also, I will say in an update that this person posted, that she found out later that her son is in fact gay and they were in fact having sex, but after they ate the
After
hummus.
they ate hummus.
It was an update on the. I can't find it right now for you to read it, but yeah, no, they absolutely were having sex, but after they ate the
She
hummus.
was right. Yeah. That's where you get, if you're ever gonna lie effectively, put a little bit of the truth in there. So they did
Exactly.
eat hummus.
Exactly.
Oh,
We got time for
now my
another
allergies
short
are
one. Do
killing
you
me.
have another short one?
I have an interesting "Am I the Asshole?"
Okay. Ooh, I like interesting.
Interesting just because I think, like, legally it's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to
If you get a chance, check what Saturday just put in the Discord.
I have to look on my phone.
Oh, no. Scary. Okay.
Is this a
I
gay
got.
sex? uh,
Oh my gosh.
is this a gay Saturday? People, people
Did you
are gonna look
have
at
that
that.
ready to go?
People are gonna look at that and be like, "What the fuck?" If they haven't been here for any of this, they're gonna see that and be like, "Boy, Joyful's getting real lax on the moderation around here."
Oh my god.
Okay, go
Yes.
ahead.
So I got injured at a wedding and the couple is ghosting me. Should I take legal action? 6 months ago, I attended a wedding where I was forced to participate in a bouquet toss. Oh my god, bouquet is spelled really weird if anyone doesn't know. The bride physically pulled me onto the dance floor even though I didn't want to participate. I was sitting down because my feet hurt and I was wearing uncomfortable shoes, but she insisted. When I reached up for the bouquet, one of her guests scratched my face badly. I suffered a deep injury, not just a surface scratch, but like an actual cut from their nails.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't even realize I was bleeding until I sat back down afterwards. A groomsman pointed it out when I sat down and tried to help me. We asked the party coordinator for the first aid kit, but all she could offer were band aids. I was devastated to have to leave the wedding early and completely shaken by what happened.
Wait, did they need
Since
stitches or
then,
something? Why'd they have to
I'm
leave?
not sure.
Anyway,
They
sorry,
did
go
have to
ahead.
go to the hospital, so I assume they needed some sort of
Okay.
help. Um, since then, I spent nearly $7,000 on dermatology treatments to repair and remove the scar. Thankfully, the wound is healing well, and I don't foresee needing further treatments, but
Seven.
this injury threw me into a deep depression. I increased my medication intake and underwent 36 rounds of TMS treatments because of my mental health had spiraled.
What is
I'm feeling
TMS?
better. Um, I'm not actually sure.
Hold on, I
I think
Google.
it's
TMS treatment for depression, transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's a non-invasive treatment that uses magnetic pulses to stimulate specific areas of the brain involved in mood regulation. It is an option for individuals with major depressive disorder who have not responded adequately to other treatments, such as antidepressants, medication, and psychotherapy. Okay, then. That's on the Mayo Clinic, too. So this is like, it's not pseudoscience. This is an actual treatment. Go ahead. Oh, she's skipping.
I'm feeling better now,
Okay,
or at
good.
least I was. I'm skipping? Is it me? Who's
No,
me?
you're good. You're good. You're fine.
um, I'm feeling better now, or at least I was until my phone call yesterday with the bride and groom. When this happened, I immediately reached out to the bride and groom for help, but they ghosted me. Months later, they sent me a photoshopped picture of myself holding the bouquet, with my injury edited out. I honestly felt like they were trying to erase what happened instead of taking responsibility. I originally thought the person who injured me was a bridesmaid, so I asked the couple to help me identify them. They claimed they had asked their bridesmaids and it wasn't one of them, because according to them, half the bridesmaids were outside getting high and the other half were participating in the bouquet toss. I don't know any of the women there besides the bride. Since they all looked the same to me, it became difficult to remember who injured me. I asked the couple if they would help me figure it out, and they said no because it would make them uncomfortable to ask their guests about. I was left completely on my own with this injury and a mounting medical debt. After speaking with an attorney, I learned that the bride and groom could be held liable in this situation because it was their wedding. I sent a follow-up text, and at first the groom seemed to understand. He even said that he didn't want to be sued and asked for my invoices to cover some of the expenses. But when we got on the phone a few days later, things took a turn. I asked if he could cover at least half my cost, and suddenly they started making excuses. They said they had family members to take care of and their own issues. I told them I understood, but that I also have my own struggles and it's not fair to me to carry this entire burden. The behavior kept shifting. First, they told me they couldn't help me. Then they started throwing numbers around. They originally offered me $2,000 and then lowered it to $1,500, which I was willing to accept. But then the bride turned on me and started attacking me, calling me a bad person for asking for help, and said that another person was injured at the wedding and that person wasn't asking for compensation, implying that I was wrong for expecting them to contribute. What shocked me most is when she said, "You should have just lived with the scar." She told me that getting treatments to fix my face was my own problem and that it was my choice to invest in recovery. That comment blew my mind because she's a photographer who works in aesthetics and is constantly photographing, photog, 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 mm.
Picture
Photography?
taken.
It's an ing. There's an ing. How do I say the word with an ing?
Photographing.
Thank you.
Photographing? Photographing?
Photographing models and editing their images. How could
Yeah.
she, of all people, say something like that? Was I supposed to just walk around for years with a visible scar on my face? Their answer to the question was yes. Well, I'm not Harry Potter. And this conversation ended with them saying they'd think about it for the rest of the week and get back to me. Instead, they called me back and said the wife was distraught over my situation and they weren't going to help me at all. They told me I have to do what I have to do. I feel like I'm being punished for not agreeing to live with it. Their gaslighting, manipulation, and degrading behavior have left me devastated. And I don't think I'm asking for too much. But now, after being treated this way, I'm seriously considering taking legal action so I know that they could be held responsible. Am I justified in pursuing this legally, or am I an awful person for asking for help?
So, here's the thing. I don't think she's a bad person for asking for help because I will never shit on someone for asking for help if they need it. I'm not entirely sure that it is the bride and groom's responsibility
I think it is
to
either, but they're
pay.
refusing to help identify the person. person.
I mean, that's shitty, but that's also not. I mean, if she's. I don't even know, like, how to even approach that because it's unfortunate.
But she
One,
didn't even want to get up and do the bouquet toss, though. Like the bride made her. She grabbed her and
Yeah.
physically brought her up there.
oh, well, I mean, but still, at the same time, the bride
Accidents
didn't.
happen.
Yeah, it sounds like it was just an unfortunate thing that happened. I don't think it's fair to try to get the bride and the groom. If they offered and then rescinded, that's something different. I don't, but I also don't love their callous attitude towards her. I think that's pretty fucked. Like, you don't treat
I
people
feel
you
like
care
they
about like
should have
that.
helped with the expenses for what happened that night. Like if she went to the hospital and had to get stitches or whatever, I
Yeah.
feel like it would be okay to ask them to help with that.
I like, here's the thing. If
If they're
I
refusing to tell me who did it,
like what Saturday says, the venue probably has insurance for stuff like this. So you can reach out to the venue, try to figure out if maybe the floor was uneven or something. I don't think it's right to expect the bride and groom to pay for this. And what kind of a wedding was this that two people got injured?
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know if the bride saying
My
someone else got injured really
my
helped.
my wedding was, not the craziest shit ever, but it wasn't the quietest either. And we were right next to a beach. Drunks on a
Mm.
beach is not a good idea. But I mean, I don't if something happened to one of my guests, was she a bride? She wasn't a bridesmaid, was she?
No, she was
I
just a guest of the bride.
see, here's the other part of it too. She says that the one thing I found with Reddit stories is that she was very descriptive of how the bride and groom spoke to her, but she's not descriptive of how she spoke to the bride and groom. She's not descriptive of exactly what injury was on her face, where on her face it was. She was very, very, like, nailing in the details that the bride and groom are assholes. Of course, it's like human nature to try to paint yourself in a more pleasant light. But I would need to know more about what happened to her face. Was it like a huge gap? Does she look like Scar from The Lion King? Or was it
Yeah.
like a tiny
Was
blip
it
on
like a
her eye?
disfigurement or was it just like,
Yeah.
hey,
Or was it like you have a line across your cheek? And I
Yeah,
understand,
true.
like, you
Like
did
$7,000 worth of
dermatology
treatment.
treatments?
Like
That's
that
crazy.
seems excessive.
excessive.
Like,
But she
Yeah.
doesn't
like
even tell us. A face scar can be very psychologically upsetting, even if it's small. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's small, and that's absolutely fair. But that falls under you need to deal with that. If that's something like if you are looking at yourself in the mirror and you don't think makeup can cover it, and you decide to get these treatments to get rid of the scar instead of hopefully having it fade naturally, that's kind of I don't I need more information about the injury to her face. And I don't think it, I think it would be nice if the bride and groom were like, we're so sorry this happened at our wedding. We're so sorry. What can we do to help you? And if it's something
yeah.
reasonable that is within their budget, absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't
Like,
imagine too many brides and grooms take out wedding insurance for injuries.
You'd be
And
surprised. You have to get insurance for the venue, and the venue has insurance itself.
right.
It's
But I mean, that's
crazy.
not something that generally tends to be something I think they would worry about.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, they need to have a lot more empathy at least.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
Like
also think
they seem to
the
not feel bad.
getting fed up with her is a
Yeah.
little bit off. It's a
Yeah.
little bit much.
well, that's why I was like, from the way she was writing this, I don't know how close they are or how many situations they've had like this. Because the writer definitely feels like she's like, I have all this proof and I'm exacting and like I need
Yeah,
this.
but she doesn't
So
describe
I
her
don't
injury at
I don't
all.
know if too the bride is like refusing to give out her friend's information because she doesn't want this woman to like attack her, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right, but she could offer, be like, yeah, I can look into it on my end and see what I can do for you. Not so much I'll find out who it is and let you know. She
Yeah.
could at least try and help out that way.
Yeah. She could at least offer to assist her in, for lack of a better term, the witch hunt. It's not a witch hunt, but I can't think of any other phrase in my mind.
But again, even if she did find out who it was, what is that person supposed to do? Like, it was an accident.
Yeah. I mean, accidents still, you have to pay for accidents, but like, I don't know. It
That's
rubs me,
$7,000
it,
though.
it rubs me weird that she was very descriptive about all the treatment she went through and for depression and all that, but she didn't describe the injury on her face at all. So I think the bride and groom are assholes for, you know, talking to her the way they did, but I don't think they're assholes for being like, what are you talking about? Because if she's narrowing it, she's really driving it home in her story that she just wrote. So you can only imagine what her conversation with the bride and groom, what that's looked like. We can only imagine because she hasn't really described how she was speaking to them, just how they were speaking to her. I don't know. She's leaving out details that makes me kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's the asshole. I think people behave poorly, but I don't know if anyone's the asshole necessarily. Was there
Agree
a
with
verdict on
Saturday.
that
I
one?
think everybody's the asshole.
Yeah.
Um, this one, no, actually, because it was posted for 3 days ago.
Oh, a recent.
Ooh,
What did some of the
Very.
comments say?
Ooh, where are the comments? Perfect.
They're at the bottom.
I know I've been clicking through them. Okay.
I know. It's a
No
tough.
comments.
That's a tough one though. Like I don't. You know.
They said a lot of them are just shitting on the poster, saying you seem insufferable. Um,
I mean, she kind of does, but that's a little
they said
excessive.
that bride and the groom have no responsibility for the injury.
Yeah,
You
I
are
don't
the
think they do
responsible.
either.
Someone said neither the bride nor groom nod on your face, so they're not the ones paying the damages.
Yeah, I don't think they. I mean, it would be nice if they offered. It would be a nice gesture, but like,
Someone
I think
else
I.
had like they said you would need to make a police report and file it against the person that scratched you, but you would only get mostly the medical and then maybe some of the mental health
yeah,
coverage.
I don't know. It's just something about that story rubs me weird. Rubs me very weird. Yeah, I think we don't really know enough about local laws to know if the bride and groom have responsibilities. Yeah, I don't. She does sound pretty, especially because she doesn't say what the problem. You know what I mean? She didn't say what exactly happened to her face. You know? I don't know. That one's odd. That's a weird one. People can let us know in the comments on the YouTubes when this is posted. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. I don't know. I just don't think that I don't think the bride and groom are liable for that. I also
I
don't
do
think
think
it's their
it'd be,
responsibility to rat out their friend. Like she, you know.
yeah, honestly, like everybody's gonna get drunk at a wedding and do
Yeah. Shit's gonna
stupid shit.
happen at a wedding, you know?
You just kind of gotta plan for that.
Yeah. And if you don't want to here's another thing too. There's something about adults saying I was forced to do that. Did the bride have a gun to your head? What do you mean she forced you? There's not a person on this earth that can force me to do anything unless there is a 9
I might
mil.
have pulled you from your seat, but you could have just said no and sat back
No.
down.
And
Like,
if they kept going, be like, no. You know? No, I just, yeah, there's not a thing in this world anyone can force me to do, you know? Unless they, like, tied me to a chair or had a gun to my back. I mean, there's not, you know. What else? What else you got? You can't make me do shit. But anyway, that was Squish Poot episode 2. Thank you so much for joining us today for some Squish Poot. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you on the next episode of Squish Poot. I love you dearly. Let me know how you feel about everything down in the comments. Behave yourselves. Be good to the people you love. Be good. And if you can't, be good at it.